Chapter 27. Uh-oh, May said, backing away from the mirror. That pretty much covers it, Jack agreed, yanking her back more quickly. Whatever was pouring out of the mirror looked like some kind of bright greenish-yellow smoke, though Jack hadn't ever seen smoke that glowed. "This way!" the prince yelled, then gestured for Jack and May to get outside. Jack couldn't really argue with that, so he pushed May toward the door, then ran to the bed. There was no way the wolf could move on his own. Jack put his shoulder under one of the animal's injured legs and heaved. Only he didn't move the animal an inch. "Whoa!" Jack said. "He must weigh like 100 stone." "Yeah," the woman in blue said, pointing at Jack. "I'll take care of this creature." Jack started to object, then looked into the woman's eyes that were completely white. The woman, whoever she was, had no irises or pupils whatsoever. "Right," Jack said, knowing better than to argue with a woman with no eyes. He lowered the wolf's leg back onto the bed and ran for the door, leaping over a small cloud of whatever was coming from the mirror. It might have been his imagination, but the cloud almost looked like it grabbed for him as he jumped. Philip caught him on the other side, then pulled him out the door, which slammed shut behind him. May was waiting a short distance away at entrance of the clearing, so the two joined her there. "Who is that woman?" Jack asked the prince when they got in a relatively comfortable distance away. "We call her Merryweather," Philip said, watching the cottage, "though I do not know if that is her real name." "She's not human, is she?" Jack said. "No," the prince said. "She is the queen of the fairy folk. My father saved her life when I was very young, and he has watched over me ever since. She called herself my godmother, actually, when I was young." He frowned. "I wonder what the delay is." "I am here," said the fairy queen from directly behind them. All three spun around to find her standing calmly with the wolf king lying in the grass at her feet. The wolf was breathing hard, but it wasn't as labored as it had been. And he wasn't bleeding. In fact, his fur had grown back, and he seemed to be completely healed. Jack's eyes went wide. "That's amazing," he said breathlessly. The right side of Merryweather's mouth turned up the slightest bit. "Hardly," she said, "and I'd rather see the animal dead. Still, I did as my young prince requested. The animal will be fine when it wakes." She bent down and picked up the wolf's chin, then let it drop back to the ground. The wolf never moved. "After healing the creature," she said, "I enchanted it to sleep, so that I'd have time to change your minds." She gave them all a hard look. "No good will come from this one, children. Its life has been one of hardship and lost love, and I do not know if it is capable of returning from such a dark place." Jack didn't have any idea what to say to that, but before he could think of anything, Philip grabbed his arm, spun him around, and pointed at the clearing. On Jack's other side, May gasped. As much as he knew he regretted doing it, Jack reluctantly followed their gazes back to the cottage. Greenish-yellow smoke was now visible through the windows, filling the entire cottage. Cracks appeared in the brick walls, and the wood in the roof began to crack. shrieking as if in pain. The smoke continued to spread, the creaking growing louder and louder until finally the entire roof launched into the air like a lid exploding off a pot of boiling water. The roof spun and shot into the air, rising in an arc that suddenly looked like it might land a bit too close to them for comfort. As the roof tumbled back down, heading straight for their group, Jack, May, and Philip all jumped backward. Meriwether, however, didn't move. The roof crashed down a few inches from her foot, and the Fairy Queen didn't so much as flinch. Instead, she glanced down at it, then looked back up at the smoke and frowned. "Your Highness," she said to Philip, "you are not safe here." "She's quick, huh?" May whispered to Jack. "What is it?" Philip asked the Fairy Queen. As they spoke, the smoke seemed to be coalescing into some sort of shape, almost like a body, a torso.